2 weeks away from Australia, Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Now, people are not giving Strickland a chance in this fight. I'm just saying that people are counting this fight out, and I am not one of them. Good things that we could download stuff to hit receipts. Check this out off of our analyst going into the fight. Check this out. 2 weeks away from Australia, Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Now, people are not giving Strickland a chance in this fight. A lot of the people talking, listen, we said this just 2 weeks ago. Styles make fights. To me, from just what I've seen, is that these are two, and both people are saying, well, they're strikers. Yeah, but they are strikers in completely different ways, right? And the style of Sean Strickland, in my opinion, is being completely overlooked by the masses when it comes to Izzy, right? It's not like he is not going to try and kickbox with him, and he's not going to try and take him down. What he is going to try and do is get in his face. And when you get in a kickboxer's face and you get in a guy who uses range exceptionally well, like an Izzy, when that range is closed and now we're fighting in a phone booth where Sean Strickland loves to do a lot of his fighting, that poses problems. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm just saying that people are counting this fight out, and I am not one of them. Listen, styles make fights. Styles make fights. This turned out exactly how I kind of envisioned it going. You know, I'm going to say I envisioned it going, and it's not just because I can analyze fights really well, or that we can analyze fights really well. We had data that shows that how do you beat an Izzy? And the way you beat an Izzy is closing the range. And people who can do that have a recipe of beating a particular style, like just a phenomenal, unorthodox, rangy kickboxer. You close that distance. And we had to look no further than a few years ago when Israel Adesanya first became champion. It was Kelvin Gastelum who showed us that recipe. And now he didn't have it to get through for all 5 rounds, but one could argue heading into that 5th and final, Kelvin Gastelum was winning that fight.
It really was. I mean, that's one of the greatest fights of all time, of course, man. Just an absolute epic war. But, you know, I remember as you were laying out that analysis last week, I was thinking about the great Mirko Cro Cop, right? And what a problem he was as a kickboxer, right? You know, the right leg hospital, left leg cemetery. I mean, legendary stuff, right? But how did people start to beat Mirko Cro Cop? They realized what an elite level kickboxer was. And while it seems a little bit scary and a little bit counterintuitive to press somebody that's trying to knock you out, that's exactly what you want to do to a kickboxer, right? You want to eliminate the kickboxing range and get into boxing range, which is really what Sean Strickland does, right? He just throws the 1-2. So I remember as you were saying, I was thinking about that, but I believe that Sean Strickland can make it that type of fight, but here's why I say I believed it, and yet my mind was still blown when I watched the thing play out, because I assumed Israel Adesanya was so dynamic and so great in his movement that he was going to understand that, and he was going to start cutting angles. He was going to start slipping out to the left, to the right, get himself back to the center where he could find range again, because Sean Strickland moves forward, but he doesn't move forward at such like a rapid pace that you can't get away from it. But for whatever reason, he was never able to make those adjustments. Izzy would continually back straight up, kind of get trapped up against the fence and get stuck in that range. And man, I mean, just what a fight. I mean, the drama that unfolded in the opening round, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then Izzy does make adjustments in round 2. That's the only round he won on the scorecards. And I thought, okay, here we go. He's downloaded the information. He's making the adjustments. He's going to react on the fly. But it was not to be. And Sean Strickland continued to do exactly what you said he could do and should do to make this a fight. And now he's UFC middleweight champion.